Chromatography comes from the Greek word colored writing. It is the most widely used analytical tool for separating a mixture and identifying its components. All separations occur by distributing a dye between two phases. The first phase is stationary and the second phase is mobile. Each substance's affinity to the solvent and the TLC plate determine how fast they travel up the TLC plate using capillary action. Substances that interact weakly with the stationary phase spend most of their time in the mobile phase and move through the system rapidly. Substances that interact strongly with the stationary phase move very slowly along the plate. The order of the dyes to be used was decided, and each dye was placed as a small dot on the TLC plate. Using a pencil, a line 1 centimeter from the bottom of the TLC plate was drawn to show where to start placing the dye. A pen was not used because the dyes in the ink would react with the solvent and the TLC plate. The TLC plate was placed in a beaker large enough to prevent corrosion. The solvent was poured into the beaker until it reached just below the pencil line on the TLC plate.
Okay, you're going to remove your paper and make sure that your paper side is up and not your plastic side. And then you're going to draw a line where your solvent line ends. And that's just where you notice that your paper goes from being kind of translucent to white.
From the beaker, and then draw a line where the solvent line ends.
You wait until the solvent line stops.
And then wait for it to dry.
You then remove your card from the solvent and you mark the solvent line.
So using the ruler, measure the distance from 1 centimeter of the bottom of the paper to the solvent line, which is exactly 5 centimeters. Wow, you want to record me? So start at the middle of the dot and measure it to the 1 centimeter mark. So this is 3.4 centimeters. 3.7. Record all the distances traveled by the dots.
Okay, you're going to measure from your solvent line to your initial starting line. Here it's about 4.8 centimeters. Then you're going to measure starting from the center of your dot down to your starting line. And here it's 4.5 centimeters. About 4.6 centimeters. 4.2 centimeters. This one's a 4.7 centimeters. This one is approximately 4 centimeters.
First, you measure the line from where your solvent started to where it ended. Then you measure from the starting point to the middle of the dot. If it has two different colors, then you'll want to measure each one.
If you have two distinct dots, measure the distance from both, which is 3.6 and 1.3. The tension factor for each component was found by taking the distance traveled by the solid divided by the distance traveled by the solvent. Using the results from the TLC plate, the unknown was found to have methylene blue in basic fusion.